This is Itoha on her wedding day, a day she has always dreamt of even from her teen age, a day everyone had been looking forward to with such vigor and high spirits. But what must have happened? What abominable thing has Larry done to her to make her decide to run away on what was supposed to be her happiest day? That's the question on everyone's mind, including yours too, I presume. Larry, meet my friend Itohan from Business Administration Department, the one I told you about. Itohan, meet Larry, my very, very good and naughty friend. He's in my class, Kosi said. Itohan and Larry both exchanged pleasantries, and that was the beginning of their love story. The friendship between Larry and Itohan grew quickly into a very formidable relationship and soon became the envy of the whole campus. Their romance was like a tale of Romeo and Juliet. They were so fond of themselves that you can hardly see one without the other. For 2 consecutive years, Larry and Itohan received the Student Union Government Best Couple of the Year award. That even made their love story spread like wildfire across the entire school. So the friendship between Kosi, Larry, and Itohan continued through their graduation, but the love between Larry and Itohan grew even stronger thereafter. They even worked their NYSC posting to the same camp so they could be close to each other. And after their camp, Larry was posted to a private construction company in Ikoyi for his place of primary assignment, while Itohan was posted to the Lagos State Ministry of Trade and Commerce. This was a big setback for the two lovebirds, as they would be living apart for the first time since the start of their fairy tale relationship. Could this be a test of their love? Notwithstanding Larry working and living on the island and Itoa on the mainland, the couple would spend every weekend at Larry's place. They looked forward to every weekend with eager anticipation as it was the only time they could meet and have good time together. Soon, their youth service year was over. It was such joy and relief for both Larry and Itoha as they could move in and become the power couple they once were. Larry's boss, engineer Ugochukwu Obiora, was fond of Larry because of his loyalty, intelligence, and great work ethics, and so decided to employ him as full staff of the company. Larry was the only youth copper the company retained. Later that night, the couple went out to celebrate Larry's employment, and there they agreed that Itoan would move in and join Larry so they can both live together and work on the island. This made Itoan more excited because now she would always be with the love of her life. 3 years after their youth service, Larry and Itoan were financially struggling to survive despite the fact that they were both gainfully employed. This was due partly to the continued inflation and high cost of living on the island. The couple eventually came up with a plan. They decided that Larry would obtain a loan from his company, use the money to get a Toyota Corolla car, and use the car for Uber in the evening, after work, and during the weekends. Their grand plan seemed to have worked out so well as they saw substantial improvement in their finances. Larry came from Lagos to Ibadan to tell his parents of his intention to propose to Itoa and to marry her as soon as possible. His parents were very excited to hear the good news, as that has always been their desire because they really love Itoa and would be very happy to have her as daughter-in-law, but didn't want to pressure their son to settle down as he was still struggling to find his feet. Upon getting back to Lagos from Ibadan, Larry took Itoan out for a date and there he asked the magic question, "Will you marry me?" Itoan wasn't at all surprised that Larry proposed, because he has been indirectly hinting at it for some time now. But what surprised her was the fact that he decided to propose when they were trying to get out of their financial struggles. Notwithstanding, she cheerfully accepted his proposal and said yes. Everyone around joined in cheering this soon-to-be husband and wife. All through their drive home, Itoan hardly said a word to Larry. Larry was surprised seeing Itoan like that, especially considering the fact that he just proposed to her. So he expected she would be all chatty about it and even call her friends to share the news with them. When he asked what was wrong, all the answers he got was nothing. Upon getting home, Larry confronted Itoan once again, but this time she opened up to him. Not that I'm not happy that you proposed. I am very happy. But considering our financial state right now, do you think this is the right time we should be thinking of marriage? Larry was shocked and at the same time disappointed at her question, as though she didn't have faith in them. Babes, our financial situation isn't as bad as you make it seem. Moreover, I told you I am expecting promotion at work, which is going to come with better pay and other benefits. Itoan cut in and said, the same promotion you didn't get last year, or is it the same one that you were denied earlier this year? Larry said, this time around, it is certain that I'll get it. They went on arguing into the wee hour of the morning. Itoan told her friends that she wasn't ready to settle down with Larry yet, as she was uncertain of their financial situation. All her friends supported her decision except Kosi. Kosi asked her, Itoan, how long have you guys been dating? She responded, 6 years. Kosi asked further, after 6 years, he proposed and you are saying you are not ready to settle down with him yet? What do you really want? Itoan responded, I just want to be a baby girl. I don't want to marry and start managing. Then Itoan dropped another bombshell on her friends. You guys remember Daffy? That bobo in school then now? The one that was toasting me then that used to come with different cars to our hostel. Yes, I remember him, Ene responded. What about him? She asked. You won't believe it. He called me last week out of the blue that he wanted us to meet and talk. So I went to see him at his place at Pinnock Beach Estate. If you see his mansion, his luxury cars, the bobo has made it big and is asking me out, she said with so much excitement. Kosi was shocked. You went to see Daffy at his place? I hope that's not why you are saying you're not ready to marry Larry yet, and hope you told him to jack off. Itoan didn't say anything. Then Ernest said, I beg, let her decide what is best for her. Oh. No woman wants to marry liability right now. Oh." Kosi interrupted her. Ene, what are you even saying? Can you hear yourself? How much does she even know Daffy? Why do you think he's even serious in the first place? So, Itoan started seeing Daffy behind Larry's back. They would go to the most exotic spots on the island. One fateful day, Daffy asked Itoan to come spend the weekend with him in Abuja, which he happily agreed to. She told her friends and they were all happy for her and encouraged her to go, but Kosi vehemently objected to her going. She reminded her how far she and Larry had come and that she shouldn't throw the love they both share away all for the money, pleasure and trips she gets from Daffy. That Larry hadn't done her any wrong for her to turn her back on him so quickly. Then Ene interjected. But Larry doesn't have a fraction of the money Daffy has. And do you expect our baby girl to marry him and be soaking Gary with him? At this point, it appeared Itoan had had enough of Kosi telling her what to do and what not to do. She retorted with rage, Kosi, I have had enough of your holier than thou advice. I am not a baby and I know what is good for me and Larry is not. I have made that abundantly clear to you. You that is talking, was it not the same Larry you cheated on your boyfriend with while we were in school before you introduced us? I have always known you still have feelings for him. You know what? You can have him all to yourself while I'm away. Kosi, so angry with her friend and at the same time very embarrassed, responded, Itohan, that was very petty of you. Yes, I had a thing with Larry, but that was when Daniel broke up with me, and when we got back together, I immediately ended things with him. I still care about Larry, but that doesn't mean I want to take him from you. All I want is for you guys to be happy together. Seeing that the argument between the two friends was heading towards another direction, Ene quickly intervened and calmed Itoa and Kosi down. So Itoa embarked on her dream trip with her newfound love. But how on earth did Itoa manage to tell Larry she was traveling with Daffy to Abuja for the weekend? Well, she didn't have to. She simply told him she was going to her aunt's place on the mainland, that two of her aunt's daughters came from the UK and that she hadn't seen them in a very long while, so would love to spend the weekend with them and go to work from there to come back home Monday evening after work. Larry was okay with her plan. He felt it would help ease up the tension between them after the proposal drama. On getting back from her Abuja trip, Itoha met Larry on the couch in the sitting room staring absent-mindedly into the screen of his phone with tears in his eyes. Itoha, noticing the tears, was awestruck. She had never seen Larry cry, not even when someone close to him died. Could it be that he is aware of my trip to Abuja? Did someone send him videos or pictures of me and Daffy together? Those were the thoughts running through her mind as she approached Larry. Itoan breathed a sigh of relief when she saw what Larry was looking at on his phone. It was a letter from his office appointing his boss' daughter, who just returned from her studies in Canada, as the new head of his department, a position that was promised Larry and for which he is qualified. Itoan saw this as a blessing in disguise. At least this would dissuade Larry from chasing his dream of getting married to her, or so she thought. My daughter, we invited you here today to discuss a very important matter with you, the dad said. He continued, Few days ago, Larry called and told us about his plan to marry you, and your mother and I were so happy to hear that. We want you to know that you both have our blessings and support, and we wish you all the best in your journey together. After listening keenly to her father's speech, Itoan made her position known to her parents that she was not ready to marry Larry yet. She went ahead to tell them about how they are struggling to survive and how Larry was recently denied the promotion he had been eagerly expecting at work. Her parents advised her not to put money or comfort forward in matters like this. Her mother further told her how she married her father when he had nothing, not even a well-paying job. After much persuasion from Larry, both of their parents, friends and colleagues, Itoan finally decided to marry Larry, but insisted that a white wedding must be conducted first before the traditional and court wedding. Larry reluctantly accepted her demand because he didn't want her to change her mind on marrying him. And so comes the deal day. A day of immense joy and gladness for Larry and his entire family and friends as he is prepared to say I do to the love of his life so they can both live happily thereafter. But little did he know that the so-called love of his life had other plans. He was about to receive the shock of his life. The pastor turned to Larry to administer the vow, and Larry excitedly said, Yes, I do. Then it was Itohan's turn. The pastor said, Do you, Itohan Tracy Igbinovia, take this day Olarewaju Owolabi Ogunbiyi as your true and lawful husband, to have and to hold, to love and to cherish, in sickness and in health, till death do you part? There was dead silence in the hall. Everyone was expecting the golden words, Yes, I do. But to their disappointment, Itohan stayed mute. After a long silence, as though she was calculating her next move, she handed the bouquet to Kosi, her chief bridesmaid, and dashed towards the exit door. Everyone in the church was in awe, as though they were in the cinema watching a Nollywood movie. Itohan got into a taxi and zoomed off. It was the regular Lagos taxi, so it would be near impossible to chase after. Everyone was wondering why she had to run out on the love of her life on their wedding day and where she was headed. From the wedding venue, Itohan came straight to the Murtala Mohammed International Airport to join Daffy, where they will be taken off to Dubai to start the next phase of their lives together. Daffy had organized a private wedding in Dubai for him and his soon-to-be bride. So from the airport, they drove down to the wedding venue where Daffy and Itohan were officially joined as husband and wife. Meanwhile, while Itohan was having the time of her life in Dubai, Larry was back home in Lagos staring at his phone and gazing at the door anxiously waiting for Itohan to either call or walk through the door. Days turned into weeks and weeks into months, but there was no Itohan at the door nor a call from her on his phone. All through the period of Larry's ordeal, Kosi was one of the few people that stood firmly by him. She helped him get through the pain of losing Itohan and also helped him get back on his feet quicker than expected. She became his confidant and trusted friend. One fateful day, while Larry was having a drink with his friends, Fola, his best man, said something to Larry that would change his life forever. He said to him, "What's up with you and Kosi? Have you ever thought about it, that everything that happened was for you two to come back together again?" All through that week, Fola's words kept on playing in Larry's head. So he called his mom and dad to seek their opinion. They were very excited seeing that it's been over 18 months since Itohan left, and they knew how loving and caring Kosi had been to him. They gladly encouraged him to go for it. Larry was very hesitant to bring up the matter with Kosi. He was scared of what her reaction or response would be. He can't afford to mess up the friendship they share, and at the same time cannot afford not to tell her how he truly feels about her. Eventually, Larry asked Kosi out, and to his greatest surprise, she accepted without hesitation, as though she had been eagerly expecting it all along. Not long after, Kosi and Larry tied the knot in a private wedding ceremony with only close friends and relatives in attendance. Larry's boss, Engineer Obiora, was the chairman of the occasion. While delivering the chairman's remarks, Engineer Obiora brought out an envelope and handed it over to Larry. He apologized for not being around at the previous wedding. Then he went ahead to state the contents of the envelope. According to him, the vice president of the company, who was the second in command after him and who was the person heading the Abuja branch of the company, just resigned to take up a ministerial appointment. The board have decided to appoint Larry as the new vice president of the company. Consequently, Larry would have to relocate to Abuja to head the Abuja branch. Some of the benefits that came with the appointment include personal house in Abuja, one personal and one official car, quarterly family trips abroad each year, equity stake in the company, higher pay among other benefits. Larry could not contain his excitement. The whole crowd joined in celebrating the good news. After the wedding, Kosi applied to be posted to the Abuja branch of her company to enable her stay close to her husband, and the company gladly obliged her request. So, Larry and Kosi moved to Abuja to resume their respective offices. 3 months into the marriage, Kosi became pregnant, and 6 months later, she gave birth to a set of beautiful twins, a boy and a girl. Larry was overwhelmed with joy and gratitude to God. In the space of 3 years, it seems all his dreams and desires had come true. One fateful day, Larry came to Lagos for an official engagement. He was the keynote speaker at a business summit organized by the federal government of Nigeria. While giving his keynote speech, he saw a familiar face in the audience. When he looked closely, it was Itohan. She was one of those catering the event. Lanre could not believe his eyes, so after the event, he went to her. Itoan wasn't surprised to see him because she had already seen him on stage delivering the keynote speech. They both exchanged pleasantries. Then Itoan asked about the twin and Kosi, his wife. Ene had told her all that happened while she was away. 10 months after Dafe and Itoan eloped to Dubai, Dafe was declared wanted by the police both in Dubai and Nigeria. He was suspected to be the ringleader of a sophisticated drug syndicate. For months, he managed to evade the authorities, but after about 15 months of searching, Dafe was eventually arrested in his hotel room in Singapore, where he had gone for a deal. He was tried and sentenced to life imprisonment in Singapore. All his properties, both tangible and intangible, were confiscated, so Itoan had no other choice but to move back to Nigeria to stay with her aunt in Lagos. Before Dafe's arrest, Itoan was 4 months pregnant. She gave birth to a beautiful baby boy while at her aunt's place. She was doing 3 jobs to be able to cater for herself and her son. It was in the course of her part-time catering job she stumbled across Larry at the summit. After narrating her ordeal to Larry, he was moved with compassion, especially for her innocent baby, so he offered her a permanent employment in the Lagos branch of his company. This made Itohan very happy and at the same time very emotional. After many years of being a single mother, Itoan finally married Mr. Ubong Okon, a divorced government secondary school principal. Both Larry, Kosi, and the twin attended the wedding, all looking very glamorous. There are lots of lessons to be learned from this story. I would love to hear your opinion in the comment section. Thank you for watching, and please don't forget to like, share, and press the red button to subscribe to my channel. Bye!